Yo, this is Coop. This is episode 2 of TakuCast Prime. We got the same Phantom and Drid here. This is Coop again, and I'm playing right now still Animal Crossing and some Tomb Raider. So that's me. And what about you, Drid?
Um, I've been digging out my old PS1 RPGs and I've been giving Chrono Cross a bit of a playthrough at the moment. And
Is this as good as you remember?
oh yeah, definitely. The problem is that I got hours into the game, got to a save point and clicked load instead of save.
Oh no.
I know.
What about you, Phantom? What are you up to?
Nothing much recently. Just spent all weekend building the computer, getting it running, getting the bugs out, finding more bugs that we had ironed out the other night. I actually did play some Animal Crossing today. That was the first for a while. But
Nice.
other than that, hopefully the Final Fantasy beta will start up next week for fourth phase, and then we'll be all into that for the next long time.
Yeah, I read about that. I'm pretty excited. How's your computer? Is it overall meeting your expectations?
So far, actually right now, Tally just left, but he was looking up. We think actually the integrated graphics on the 4770K might be better than my video card, and so we'll just use that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we need to do a little
Nice,
more research
nice.
on it, but we think the integrated might be better than my video card, so we'll see what happens later.
It's nice. You're more comfortable talking about it now. Last time you're like, burning us just for talking. You don't mention that shouldn't be mentioned.
It's because I spent so much,
Nice,
but now I
nice.
actually have it. Looking at it, it's all blue and glowy.
Well, hopefully you'll get a better card soon. Anyways, the first thing that we did get a request of a subject to talk about, and I was wondering if you guys are okay with it. August is a pretty big month for Nintendo, and Dark with a 4 wanted us to talk about what's coming out next month. So you guys go with
Pikmin!
bringing some of that stuff out. Yeah, so that's obviously pretty big. Except for Drid over there, he gets Pikmin Friday, right? Are you gonna pick it up?
Oh no, I have not got the money. I've already got things allocated to Payday and Final Fantasy, so anything else
Hey, you gotta pick
is...
up Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I've got a load of in-store credit for games, so I can pretty much get that for
Nice.
free.
But you're not getting Pikmin, so I don't care anymore. What about you, Phantom? I'm just kidding. No, I understand. There's so much games coming out. They're so expensive. I'm gonna get Pikmin because I got the $30 from registering those 3DS games, and then I have some Nintendo credits for the digital deluxe stuff, so I won't have to pay for it either.
Bitch.
I am a whore. I am a whore. What about you, Phantom? I know you want it. That's like your main reason you got a Wii, isn't it?
No, I got it from Monster Hunter, but
That's right.
I never played Pikmin. Never played Pikmin 2. My only experience with it is the little mini games in Nintendo Land, but we're still looking forward to it. I was looking at the list now. There's August 4th is Pikmin 3.
Right.
Dragon's Crown is on the 6th. Mario and Luigi's
Yeah.
on the 11th. DuckTales 13th. I know a couple people are looking forward to that.
Oh, I'm gonna buy
Payday
the hell out of that.
Payday 2 is on the 15th. Saint Row 4, new XCOM game, Tom Clancy, Skullgirls, Castlevania, Final Fantasy 14, Lost Planet 3. Holy shit!
There's even Saints Row 4, the same day as Blacklist.
Yep.
New Luigi
Tom-
U, the retail version, comes out the 25th.
Oh, it's not on this list.
Your list is insufficient.
My list is Wikipedia.
These are just lists I looked up the other day. I added them on the calendar. Some Nintendo stuff when Dark with the 4 asked us. Another game that I'm actually interested in that a lot of people are underselling, and I think a lot of people are ignoring for the wrong reasons, is Disney Infinity. I think that game has like a lot of potential. Have you guys
I
seen
don't
some
even
of
know
the
what
videos
it
for that?
is.
Well, you know what Skylanders is, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
so it's a similar idea where you would purchase the characters, but in Skylanders, each character that you buy has an attribute. Some of them add weapons, some of them add little extra content. But with Disney Infinity, each character adds an entire game almost. So, for instance, if you get Jack Sparrow, you get like pirating stuff. You get Port Royal, the city. You get the ship. You can be him, and he has his own attacks and everything like that. If you get um, like one of the Incredibles, like they can actually fly, and you get the Incredible City,
None of
and
the
what you can also do is you
Incredibles
can
can
custom
fly.
build. Uh-huh.
None of the Incredibles can fly.
Okay. So then you get their abilities, I guess. I don't know. In the video, it showed some of them flying, so maybe it was from another game I don't recognize or movie I don't recognize. But anyways, what it does though is you can combine all the worlds, and you can even customize your own world. Like they had like giant racetracks that they built for like the Cars movie, and it sounds really cool. I mean, people are talking about how Knack looks like a really good third-person game, but I think Disney Infinity has it topped by far. Just the customization, it's like a Lego game, but everything looks like Pixar Disney style animation instead of Legos.
I've got to admit I am pretty interested in that. The problem is that I will never be able to afford to buy a game and figures for the game.
Yeah, it does come with three. I don't remember what three it is, but it does come with three figures, and you can still customize using those figures. Let me see if we can Google that real quick. Um, but yeah, I mean, even the what do you call it? Skylanders figures. Some of them are like $10 a piece, and that's essentially, yeah, it's like getting DLC with a character, which is kind of cool. Um, but how many of you guys actually buy DLC on every game you have? I think 1 out of 10 games I buy do I actually consider picking up the DLC.
The most DLC I've ever bought was for Rock Band.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Rock Band or yeah, I can't think of any other game. Maybe Street Fighter.
We did buy a lot of that, but the characters and costumes nowhere compared to the amount of songs that we bought like 4 years ago.
Yeah. I think we've had enough break. It'd be a good time to bring some of that stuff back. I'd like to see another Rock Band, or not Rock Band, but yeah, Rock Band or Guitar Hero, one of those.
yeah, Harmonix is sort of ditching that at the moment to focus on other things.
Right.
It's kind of upsetting, really.
Have you guys ever heard about Cloudberry Kingdom?
Yeah, I saw that on the calendar and I got quite interested in it when I googled it.
What it is essentially is it's a for those who don't know, it's essentially a 2D platformer in the vein of Mario, or even more traditional, more simple platformer like even Mega Man. But what it does is essentially it's the hardest game that you will ever play in your entire life. It randomly generates each stage, and it makes sure that the stage is completable by having AI finish the stage before it loads it. And so when you play the stage, it looks like it's just absolutely ridiculous, but it's actually completable. And there's different levels, but the people who were making it were quoted for saying this is going to add a whole new meaning to Nintendo Hard. So that's interesting.
So you get to find out if you're smarter or dumber than AI.
Exactly. You will be judged, and you probably won't like the results. What did you think about it, Drid? You said you saw it.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I like the idea of a randomly generated but totally completable platforming level every single time I play it, and you've got all individual settings you can set up, like the gravity, how many times you could jump after the initial jump, the size of your character and everything, and it looks really good. My only
Yeah.
qualms are that it might end up just generate levels that just a bit too difficult and end up relying on very specific running jumping patterns rather than giving you a kind of option as to what you can do.
Yeah, that was the same thing I was thinking. Is I was wondering if you don't do it within the 20 or so seconds that the pattern starts, do you miss your opportunity? Like, are you out of luck? That's the only thing I was thinking of, and that would be aggravating.
I
There is
don't think they
different
did
levels
something
of
like that.
difficulty. Huh?
No, well, they can do what they want, but I don't think they'd design a game that the AI can beat it itself before you actually play it, and then give you a spot where you have 30-second window of opportunity, then you're screwed.
Yeah, that's true. One of my favorite features about it though is the co-op mode. Did you see the co-op mode?
Oh, I did. I saw you could do like 4-player co-op, which is
Yeah, it's pretty
interesting.
insane. Like what it is you again for those who don't know is you're tethered together with like a bungee, and so like if one person falls and dies, they're not necessarily dead. They're just hanging off of you like dead weight. But what's cool is like if they stretch out enough, they'll bounce back up to the stage and they can jump back in. It's a cool concept. You really have to see it to know what it is. But I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. It comes out the 31st for PC, Xbox, and PS3. And then it comes out the 1st of August for Wii U and Wii, I believe.
I just see Wii or Wii U here, and then Vita, Mac OS X, and Linux later in the year.
Right. Looks good. It looks good. DuckTales Remastered too. I'm pretty excited for that. That was another one you mentioned. I think the music alone would have had me buy the game. If they simply left it exactly the same but just did the music from the series with words, I would have probably bought like 12 copies.
And gave me all the club coins.
Probably. Since I already have, I'm already gold now. I'm saving up for platinum now.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But,
I'm gold going for platinum, but you're gonna get before I do.
Possibly. You're pretty much buying the same games I am. I think the only one I'm buying that you won't be is Mario 3D Land.
Yeah, but that's December.
Anyways, we have until next June to get up to platinum. We should be good. What else do we guys got? What else? Any other games that you guys are looking forward to? That might, even not Nintendo?
More immediate, I'm looking forward to the continuation of the Final Fantasy beta.
Yeah.
The only problem
What are you guys
is
planning on playing?
probably going to have to start up another Conjurer because apparently the Alchemist isn't in the beta.
Nope. They even said a
weird.
while ago it's only going to be in the retail release. It
I
won't
don't
be in phase 4.
care. They need to add it in the beta. I demand it.
So really,
I don't know
Dred's not
much
going to
about
play
it.
it
Why
all.
don't you
or-
guys talk about everything that's going to be in it and what we're going to see in the last beta?
I have no idea what's going to be in the last beta. I just know that that's basically their long-term stress test. I don't think there is anything that was in phase 3, but
Yeah.
the amount of stuff that's
Phase
in
4
the
is
game is just amazing.
Yeah, they've had a chunk of the game in there already. They've had level caps, I think. In phase 3, the level cap was 35 or so. And when the third stage of phase 3, they brought in the duty finder, which is like WoW's looking for a group. You can just click the button and queue up for the dungeon instead of having to group up with people. But phase 4, all the characters are wiped. It's open beta. You have until the end of the week, I believe, to register. The 31st. Okay, next week. You have until next week to register, at least in the North America. And then we'll get access to stage 4. Hopefully, with that being open beta, the NDA will be completely lifted. We'll be able to record video. We'll be able to stream. We'll be able to throw some footage up. And maybe, hopefully, when I make my new character, I'll be able to get through the goddamn dungeon this time.
I loved the dungeons. They were actually really enjoyable. Being a conjurer means you have pretty much no trouble getting into a dungeon using a duty finder. Nobody
Oh,
plays
the
as a
queues are
healer.
faster as a healer.
No one plays as a healer. And then there's like no queue. It's all good.
I don't know. I started the beta with my
Something I was
Dragoon
really
because I liked how it looked and played, and then I got my ass kicked and went back as a pugilist. That was better. I still don't know what I want to do in the end, but you can really be anything you want with just one character, but I don't know.
But yeah, at least I'll have
One thing,
a decently leveled character at some point.
I hope I get past the sheep.
Did you never go back after that first night?
I never had time because it's on Japan's schedule. So by the time I go home on Saturday, it's like 3 in the morning. I want to go to bed, and then and we were tracking a new Wobble Star, so we were trying to see if we could get the data. So we were staying late, so I never had time to get home and play it on Sunday for the 1 hour I had before it turned Monday in Japan.
Tisk. But even that last stage of phase 3, they was up for like 5.5 days.
Was it like straight?
Yeah.
It went up Tuesday or Wednesday morning and shut down Monday morning. I think it was Wednesday to Monday.
Oh, if I would have known, I probably would have tried to play a little bit more because I would have been able to that Thursday. Oh well. The one thing I did like about it though was how well it was mapped to a controller. Most MMOs, like you have to use a mouse and keyboard. I absolutely hate that, but I like that you can actually just straight out. It even maps the Xbox icons, like you can tell on the screen that it's an Xbox controller that you're using. That's really nice.
There's a setting on the PC version you set it so it comes up with the PlayStation buttons instead.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. I think I wish every PC game would do that. What really confused me is games like Battlefield 3, that it detects the Xbox controller. We all know that it works on the Xbox. I mean, there's a gun in it, so of course it's on Xbox. And everything like matches right, but then the game doesn't map the controller right. Like you can't, the action button, you still have to press the action button on the keyboard. So it I don't know what they were thinking, but it's like unplayable unless you have a mouse and keyboard. Well, it does. Like you can aim, shoot, and move around, but unless you manually remap all the keys to it, it doesn't work right. And I'm lazy, and I'm American, and I'm not going to remap anything, damn it. Unless it's an emulator, I shouldn't have to remap the buttons. That's just my American bias there.
Your bias clearly hasn't gone far enough. Even if you load up an emulator, you need to demand that it knows exactly what you've plugged in.
I agree. I agree. That's how the world works nowadays, right? I was reading an article about how Disney and Capcom are dropping the bomb by not including the original DuckTales game with the HD remaster, and how we should fight against buying it because of that. It's absolutely absurd that we are demanding anything from developers altogether. You know what I mean? I think, yes, we can say, here's what we want, here's what we would like to see in our next games, but when a developer is making a game, I think we should appreciate their own creativity and let them do what they want with it. Otherwise,
what was the last one you were talking about when I messaged you about it? It was a petition for what?
What was it? I can't remember, but it was along the lines of stuff like the Mass Effect ending. I mean, how ridiculous would it be to expect a TV show to have an alternate ending, or a movie to change its ending just because the fans didn't like the original? I mean, how ridiculous would that be in any other world?
I think I've seen it happen. I can't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it happen before.
Isn't that what test screenings are for?
Right, exactly. I mean, wasn't Star Wars Episode 3 or Episode whatever, The Return of the
6.
Jedi? That one was, yeah, that was infamously was one of the ones where the screenings, they did some changing, I guess, where the way Vader dies, and they even changed it from Revenge of the Sith to Revenge of the Jedi to Return of the Jedi. But that was all pre-production. I mean, I think once the product is out, I think it's disrespectful to the people who created it to say, hey, you can't sell us that. You need to redo it until it's at my liking. And you know, I'm not saying the Mass Effect 3 ending was any good. I mean, I know Drid is not a big fan of Mass Effect 3 in its story, pretty much, which is fine, right? That's absolutely not what we're arguing. I just think the fact that we're demanding that these people who spent how many years, how many hours developing this game to what they wanted, and we're saying, you better change it because we're not happy.
Agreed.
Drid's like Kellogg. He doesn't like anything.
Well, no, Kellogg is more like if it changes from what he originally experienced, he hates it, which is kind of the same, I guess. Well, I'm kind of the same way too. I'm more of a, like, I absolutely am against Zelda becoming super serious and realistic. There's this big push to have Zelda become more, and I'm throwing quotation marks here, but mature. The thing is what people are asking of Zelda is simply not a Zelda game. Miyamoto's idea of Zelda is what his imagination was going through when he was a child playing in his forest. A child in his forest is not going to be thinking about Dark Souls head decapitations, you know what I mean? And
Kids these days do, though.
Zelda,
Kids these days do.
They do,
I don't know what sort
unfortunately.
of child
But, I
you
mean, Zelda
are.
can still be a completely satisfying game that could be played by everybody. I mean, look at Majora's Mask. While not completely serious, there was, monkeys and witches that are obviously cliches of cartoons, but you can still have a strong undertone without being Dark Souls. I mean, if you want a Dark Souls, just buy Dark Souls. Please don't demand it of our Zeldas. What do you guys think about all that?
I think Nintendo should just go mental and then suddenly decide to outsource like 7 Zelda games at once for instantaneous, simultaneous release.
That's what the fans would want, right?
And then pull like an Apple. Just be like, here's our Nintendo Direct. Oh yeah, by the way, we got 7 games coming out next week. Have fun.
that's totally Apple. I don't know who I was talking to. I think it was Drid who I said Ninja Theory would make a fantastic Zelda.
Yeah.
I think Ninja Theory, they're the people who made I can't remember the PS3 game, Heavenly Sword, and one of my favorite games is Gen, and for some reason I can't think of the name of it. It's the Goku story.
Oh god.
Kind of Enslaved.
Yeah, Enslaved Odyssey of the West.
Yeah, and that was one of my absolute favorite games as Gen. The story was great, the gameplay was amazing, and I think that was the point I pointed out is Ninja Theory is one of those games that not only can they provide a substantial story plot, but they do it while not making gameplay suffer. And if anybody can do a Nintendo game and finally add a thick story to it, it would be Ninja Theory. They have the ability to tell stories in the way that Naughty Dog does, but without sacrificing gameplay and making your AI an idiot. I think that'd be good. I think another game they can outsource without losing integrity would be Metroid Prime. I wish Retro would make another Metroid, but I don't think they will. I think they're burnt out on Metroid because they made 4 games. Five games. They made Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2, Metroid Prime 3, Metroid Prime Collection, and then Metroid Hunters. I believe they made Metroid Prime Hunters. I could be wrong, though.
Who made the last one that everyone hated because she talked a lot?
Oh, that was Team Ninja from...
oh, yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, the Ninja Gaiden team. It wasn't bad. It was... The whole premise of the story was her... Basically, Morgan Freeman, her story, her game. She Shawshank Redemption the shit out of it. And the problem with it was she went from being the strong, independent female that we all know in every single Metroid game to somebody who was extremely vulnerable and cared about what other people thought of her. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with Metroid, but the whole point of Metroid is loneliness. It's the like you play that game and you feel like crap. If I don't finish this, no one's going to do it for me. Where Other M was totally different. You had an army with you, or not army, but like a platoon, and it wasn't till midway through the game did you realize you were on your own. And that's kind of why it just didn't make sense. It was like the first time you played Castlevania and you didn't have a whip. It was a little weird at first. Did any of you guys play it other than me?
I haven't played it.
Other M?
Oh, no. I didn't have a Wii.
There's if you guys want to the story is not bad. It's pretty cool. If you want to watch it, it had like a movie mode where what it did was it auto put together the cutscenes and the pre-rendered in-game story. And some people have posted on YouTube. So it's about 2 hours. It's about a movie's length. It's not bad. It's not nearly as cool as the commercial was, though.
What?
Anyways.
The commercial was better than the game.
Yeah, did you watch that commercial? It was like a live action. It looked freaking incredible. It was super high production. It showed Samus Aran walking through. She was narrating herself again, but it showed like a live action Samus, and she was in her Zero suit. And as she was walking on the left and right, it was sort of like a museum gallery, but like more realistic, and they were slowly moving, and she walked through all her different games. And so like it started off with with Mother Brain and Ridley, and then it went to the Chozos, and then to the other space pirates, and it just sort of kept going through the hall, and it really explained all the past until Other M, because Other M is the latest of the entries, chronologically as well. And it was just a really cool. You might want to YouTube it. It's really awesome. That's enough of my rant on that. I know Phantom's going to pick it up. Are you going to pick up the Wind Waker remake?
When did I say I was going to pick it up? Well, oh, actually, wait, no, I did.
Well, considering your name is Phantomlink, I think we could all wild guess here.
I never played the original. My last console one was Majora's Mask.
Wow. Majora's Mask was a really great game, so
I didn't have a GameCube, I didn't have a Wii, so I missed out on Wind Waker,
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I say just unless we hear any HD comebacks of those, I say purchase them for cheap off of eBay and then play them on Dolphin, because you'll get a better experience that way. Probably the GameCube versions, since you don't have a Wii remote and infrared and all that.
Nor do I have a DVD drive.
You don't? Oh yeah, huh? Well, if you purchase it and at least download the ISO at that point, no one would blame you. I just think we need to make sure we're supporting the software. Yeah, that's true.
Also, if you buy off eBay, you're not supporting the software.
Well, you can't buy it new, so as long as you have the original software, even if well, I guess we probably really shouldn't go too much into that on the official podcast, but technically the law is, as long as you have the official software in any kind of capacity, you're able to back it up in any way you feel any way you feel beneficial to yourself. So now you just can't distribute that or share it outside of your own personal ownership. So that's all we got. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyways, what about Splinter Cell? Are any of you guys picking up Splinter Cell?
I keep forgetting that's coming out.
There's one coming out.
Yeah, it comes out the 20th. It's going to be without Michael Ironside. That was one of the things I think that I was bitching about, were people demanding that, since it's not Michael Ironside, that we shouldn't buy it. I don't mind. I would prefer Michael Ironside, but I'm not gonna say no to buying a game because Michael Ironside isn't in it. Though I don't think I was gonna buy it in the first place.
I want to know who specifically doesn't buy games because there's no Michael Ironside.
I think these people just say that kind of stuff. I honestly don't think anybody really feels that way. Because wasn't it the same thing with Mark Hamill not playing Joker in the newest Batman game?
Origins.
Yeah, Origins, and Batman isn't playing.
Injustice,
Injustice
doesn't have Mark Hamill.
Right.
Which is kind of upsetting.
But in the new, it is because.
Oh yeah, Origins, no Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin Conroy's not in Origins either, which that is a little bit more devastating because
he is
Kevin
Batman.
Conroy's been Batman for 20 years.
Oh, what, they kept the same voice actors for all the games?
They kept the same voice actors for the games and the cartoons for the most part.
The excuse that they gave, though, wasn't as bad as some excuses could have been. I mean, their argument was, this is a younger Batman who's not as confident, so the voice is Kevin Conroy's voice is certainly. I mean, you listen to him and like whatever he says, like you're sure he's going to do it. And I think that's kind of what they were trying to get away from. Ubisoft's was stupid though for Michael Ironside. Theirs was because Michael Ironside couldn't do the motion cap.
What?
Yeah, that was their excuse of he couldn't. It's the same one Kojima had for David Hayter not playing Snake. Yeah. They said that David Hayter's facial expressions couldn't achieve the feeling that they wanted for Big Boss. What's his name? Which I like him. He's a good actor, and it's not his fault. So I'm not going to hate on him because he just took a job. But they said that his acting background was able to provide more drama to the character. Honestly, I think what it is I might get some hate for this, but come on, Metal Gear Solid has been a really cheesily acted game since it was great, the first one, because it really never happened. There was no game that had even attempted serious acting like Metal Gear Solid did. But now you play Metal Gear Solid 4, And Otacon and Snake are just so out of place. Their acting is just so terrible.
It's one of the things I enjoyed about Twin Snakes, where they redid the cutscenes to just make them more over the top.
Right.
You get a bit where Snake backflips over a missile.
Yeah. Well, at least I made this argument before. I think it was to Kellogg. I said, well, the motion capture and the acting scenes matched the actual dialogue at least. Where in the first one, the dialogue was so insane, but the fighting and all that was so undertoned compared to the dialogue. But yeah, I thought Twin Snakes was really well done. I know there's a big push to have it remade again, and I'd rather see Metal Gear Solid 2 remade. But if they want to do 2, I think that'd be cool. I mean, Part 1, I think that'd be cool.
Give me a Metal Gear Solid 1 that looks like Metal Gear Solid 4.
Another Part 1.
I'd rather have one that plays
Yes.
like it as well.
Yeah. Well, Generic made a really good point, and this is something that I think I would consider would be the only real argument, is that Metal Gear Solid 1 broke when you played it like Metal Gear Solid 2. When you start going to that first-person view, and you start using those features that were brought in from Metal Gear Solid 2 and above, the game was just broken because it's so much easier. So if they're going to remake it, it would have to. I would want like a considerable remake, not just a retexturing, remodeling, but like a complete remake altogether.
Did they
Except for that Shadow Moses part.
Did they do a small HD remake a while ago?
Well, it's not really HD remake, but Twin Snakes is all they did is redo the textures, redo the models.
Oh yeah, that's
And they redid the voices as well.
Yeah, the voice acting is inarguably better. I think everybody is on the same where that is significantly better.
Yeah, David Hayter cut a load of his paycheck to get the original actors back.
Yeah. Well, he's a huge fan of Nintendo. Like, he's always said he wished that the Metal Gear Solids were on more Nintendo platforms. Him and David Marnett, the guy who plays Super Mario's voice, he said every time they meet up, they go for dinner or whatever. That guy is out of his mind, though. I think his name is David Marnett. I'm not sure. Let me check here.
the Mario voice actor.
Yeah, but he is like David Conan. David Conan interviewed him, and it was just hilarious because he was trying to get like a serious interview, and like all he did was Mario voices the whole time. It was ridiculous. He's like, dude, stop. That's a good topic though, is remakes. What other remakes would you guys like to see?
Dragoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm not going to get a sequel, give me a remake. Give me an HD remake.
Yeah.
Make it look like a crappy PS2 game.
I think Square
Do you
need
want
to
it to
get...
be Yeah, I think Square has a huge catalog of remakes they could do, and if I know Dragoon's not Square though, that's Sony.
Yeah, it's Sony.
But Square is definitely the company that would have the best option.
Yeah,
But
I
on that,
want-
you said Dragoon 2.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I'm interrupting.
No, it's all good. Man.
No,
I've been
it's
talking
just-
most of the time, anyways.
With Square, I want them to get back on remaking the older games again, because they did 1 and 2 on PSP. They did 3 and 4 on the DS. I want them to start getting onto 5, so they can get onto 6, so they can get onto 7 to get 8 and 9. As it is, I want to see 5 looking really good, because that is one of my favourite Final Fantasies.
Oh, 5 is brilliant. 5 is like one of the most underrated RPGs. It's up there with 7 Saga to me.
Never played.
You never played 7? No one's played 7 Saga. I'm pretty sure I'm one of like 4 people.
No, it's not about Final Fantasy 5.
Oh, Final Fantasy 5? Well, it didn't come to America, or it didn't come to... Yeah, it didn't come to America at all.
It came
So-
as
And,
Game Boy Advance, at least, and I think it was on PS1 as
true.
well.
Yeah. But no,
the
Xenosaga was fun.
Yeah, but that's owned by Nintendo now. Well, at least the team that made it, and including a lot of the characters, but the IP itself is owned by Square.
Okay, yeah, because I saw Cosmos in Project X.
Right.
And which companies were
Yeah.
that? It was what, Namco, Capcom,
Sega,
and Sega.
Capcom. Yeah, there was,
And,
and I think there
Namco
was.
Bandai?
Yeah, Namco, Tecmo too, because it had no, that's never mind. I was thinking Pac-Man was Tecmo, but no, that's Namco.
Yeah, it's just three companies.
I remember. Do you guys remember the Nintendo Triforce where it had it was Namco, Nintendo, and Sega?
Nope.
No.
They made the F-Zero game for GameCube. They made Star Fox Assault, and they made the Mario Kart Arcade 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, Pac-Man and stuff's in the arcade Mario Kart games.
Yeah, exactly. Although Sonic wasn't in any of that stuff, which is really strange. Because Sonic
no one
versus
cares about
Mario in
Sonic.
a kart. Huh? Yeah,
Because no one cares about
did.
Sonic.
Yeah, then, I mean, I think this is when Sonic 2006 came out, which is considered the raping and torture of Sonic. That was the idea, and the world was kind of cool. Not the idea, I'm sorry. The world was cool, and the way you interacted with the world was cool. But the real life Sonic love story was just creepy. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And it was just... stop forcing new characters down our throat.
Yeah, Silver wasn't very... He was a bit dull.
Right. I know what we need to talk about, guys. We need to talk about Mega Man.
Oh god.
We need to talk about... Because today is... not today, but this month is Mega Man's 25th anniversary.
And Capcom has done nothing.
Right? Except Nintendo has done more to promote Mega Man's 25th anniversary than Capcom has. Starting in February, Nintendo has published every Mega Man 1 game to be on 3DS. Our Mega Man original game to be on 3DS, 1 through 6. They started bringing them into the Wii. I think we're on number 3 on the Wii U.
I'm not sure.
They've also had Mega Man 1, Wily's Revenge on Game Boy. Nintendo also put Mega Man in Smash Brothers. And this July at Comic-Con, Capcom's announcement was that they will be bringing the rest of the Mega Man Game Boy games to the 3DS. So literally, every single Mega Man announcement this year has been pro Nintendo or to do with Nintendo. So what I'm wondering
Take that,
is,
Capcom.
this is right. But here's what I'm wondering. I'm thinking that Capcom is about to drop a devastating hit to Nintendo, and that the next Mega Man X game or the next major Mega Man game is not going to be on a Nintendo platform. So they're doing all this to satisfy it. It'll be Xbox One only exclusive. Xbox One and Mac only.
No, come on, Linux.
What were you saying, Phantom?
So it'll be exclusive to Linux.
Right? Be exclusive to Linux, Mac, and Android.
Oh, I got an Android device. I'm good.
I don't know. Did you play Sonic 4 Episode 2?
Who, me?
No, the other guy who declared an Android phone.
Oh, I can't even tell you the last time I played a Sonic game. I think it was on PS2.
Last Sonic game I played would probably be on
no.
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. I played Generations. I liked that one a lot. It was not nearly as good as Colors. I think Colors is by far the best in Sonic Adventure 2. No. I think the best Sonic games are on Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
I love how fast
Those are the
they
best
go.
ones. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. The Neo Geo Pocket had some pretty good Sonics.
Like, how did the games work for that system? Or are you
The
talking
Neo
about
Geo Pocket Color?
the old one or the new one?
Oh, I'm talking about the old one. The new one only plays SNK games, and I have that one too. That one is awesome. Literally, they sell you a flash card, and the console comes with 12, I think, games built in. Everything from Samurai Showdown to Metal Slug 1, and they literally just play the arcade games, but on the console. And then you can buy packs of 3 for $30. Or you can buy packs of like 12 for $70. and they're straight up the arcade, 100% arcade. What's cool about it too is that the console comes with the handheld comes with the full arcade joystick. Um, and you open up the joystick and you put the handheld inside of it. You close it, um, and then you plug it into the HDMI port, and it'll actually play the game HDMI. And then you can buy another joystick if you want. And what's really cool is it's the actual Neo Geo joystick. Neo Geo is infamous for having the world's best patented joystick. It's like a clicky; it clicks in all the directions, so you know if you're in that direction right. Um, and and it has the 4 buttons like Neo Geo has, and so it feels like you're, because I have an AVS myself, but it's just put away, and it feels almost identical to the AVS. I think the only difference is my AVS is not as broken in, so the joystick's a lot stiffer on the new one, but it's pretty awesome. It was worth it. But now I hear it's only like $199. I think I paid $300 for it.
Oof.
Yeah. Neo Geo has always been like that. When the first Neo Geo came out, I think it was like $550 US, and this was like 93, 94, I think. Maybe even as early as 91. But I got it 2 years before the Atari Jaguar, and this is when the American economy was really strong. I think our dollar was almost as high as the pound. When I had the Neo Geo, I had it for about a year. The games were so expensive. The games were up to $150 a piece. So the only game I had with it,
Whoa.
yeah. Well, and I was also, fucking like 9, 10 years old. So there wasn't enough grass to mow in the world to to get that.
Racial joke.
But right. But no. So I didn't have any money and I needed games, so I traded like an idiot when I was a kid. I traded my AVS with Fatal Fury Special, Real Bout Special 2, and 2 joysticks. I traded it for an Atari Jaguar and about 10 games. Now, of those 10 games, I got Alien vs Predator, which is considered the best game for the Jaguar, and I got Rayman, which Rayman, contrary to what people believe, was specifically designed for the Atari Jaguar, and it was the best version was on the Jaguar by far. But those are the only games that were worth anything. The other stuff were poor crap ports. Like I had Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, and they couldn't afford to buy the cutscene screenshots like the Super Nintendo and the Sega had. So it had no story. It was just literally fight after fight. It was pretty terrible. It was absolutely abysmal, and I hated my life until I turned about 22 and purchased me another one for about the same price that I got back in the 90s, which I did pay for myself. My parents never bought me a single video game system or video game. But, that's my story on Neo Geo.
And look at you now. You're just buying everything in sight.
Now, because I couldn't find the lawns, I just buy everything. Well, you guys, what are your guys' most obscure video game console or game that you remember going out of your way to have?
I don't think there've been many obscure things since I've been born.
How old are you?
19. So.
Jesus Christ.
He's Dryd the Kid.
Damn. I'm trying to think of what may have been obscure. Do you remember going out of your way for Chrono Trigger, importing it from Japan, the PSX version? Did you ever do that?
Oh no, I had Chrono Trigger on the SNES, so I don't really.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've been
I remember.
I've only ever heard bad things about the PS1 port anyway, so I don't really want to go for it.
Well, it's not worth it now. But back then, though, it was the only choice. Other than Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo was really good, but I remember importing the Japanese one. I had to import it with a Pro Action Replay. It probably cost me about $150 that I got for fixing people's computers. That was the first import game I ever had, and a month later, Square announced Chronology.
Oh.
But the cool thing about it was Chrono Trigger on the PlayStation X had orchestrated music and cutscenes by Akira Toriyama. So it was
Yeah,
really
the
cool.
entire
Just the
artwork's done by
loading.
him.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true too. The entire character and world design. But the DS version is considered the best because it actually has all the cutscenes, everything, but it doesn't have the loading issues.
Yeah, loading issues are sort of the biggest problem I've heard, and loading issues kill a game.
Yeah, especially the Super Nintendo game, because Nintendo kids are brats. We all grew up with cartridges, and loading means what? What about you, Phantom? Is there any obscure, crazy game?
I don't even know.
PC too. Anything that you can really think of.
I've never really gone incredibly out of my way. No, I can't think of anything.
My mind is still blown that Drid is 19.
He's a college kid. What'd you expect?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why we helped him out. If you're going to be in school, that's all that matters. How old are you, Phantom? I forgot. 26?
I just turned 25.
25, that's what it was. Yeah, you guys are pretty much both brought where a lot of those hard to get stuff kind of stopped happening.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I think if Drid was a little bit older, I'd be talking to him about Earthbound and it never being localized in Europe. Or England. Or Britain. The UK in general, I should say.
I never played it anyways.
It's a cool game. I think Earthbound is a really good game, but I think people who play it now wouldn't be able to appreciate it because it's the same reason people don't appreciate the Wii U. You know, they feel that they're grown out of that kind of gameplay, and that's unfortunate because Earthbound has some of the most comedy I've ever seen in a video game, and it's hilarious. But it doesn't look like Final Fantasy, so it's kind of kiddie to some people. And I'm using quotations when I say kiddie, even though people get slaughtered in that game.
Yeah, that's something weird I've seen where games labelled as kiddie end up having some really horrible things happen in them.
Like Fire Emblem, where somebody dies, you literally lose them for the entire game. Like, they're gone. They're just dead.
Is that only if you have like the true setting on though?
That's only the latest one has that option. Everyone before that, though, you had no choice.
Which was horrible when you lost your best.
Yeah. Sometimes you would restart because you would lose like Ike and you'd just be like, oh man. Another game like that was Batten Kaitos. Those games are pretty cool. I think that's another Nintendo IP people forget about.
I only remember it by name and that's it.
It's very Legend of Dragoon. I would say if Nintendo ever ripped off a game, it would be Legend of Dragoon.
Oh, it's
Oh, it came out after?
soft game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, which game was it?
In Batten Kaitos. It's a GameCube game.
Oh.
Two of them. There's Batten Kaitos and Batten Kaitos Origins, I think. And they both based off of instead of them being dragon like spirits or whatever, they're just straight up like angels, stuff like that. It's been a long time. I'd have to read up to catch up on that story. I just remember the graphics and the gameplay being impressive as all hell. It came out early GameCube, but it was definitely it looked like end of age PS2 games. So it was really impressive. I keep coming back to Nintendo. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I'm all for it. That's just what I was thinking about. So there's a couple Ninja Turtle games coming out. That's pretty exciting, right?
Yeah.
So we got the Xbox Live and PSN. It looks like a Ninja Turtle dungeon fighter. I haven't seen a lot of it. It doesn't look like there's going to be too much story, but it looks like one of those type of dungeon brawlers where you just go to room and just beat the hell out of things. And then there's the 3DS and Wii game, and Xbox actually, Xbox Live, and it's based off of the cartoon, which is hit and miss for some people. I like it because it homages the comics a little bit more than the other cartoons have, but it also plays a weird kind of human aspect, which wasn't really so much about Ninja Turtles. Did you ever play the Xbox remake of Turtles in Time?
Nah,
Or I think it was on PSN as well.
I honestly haven't got around to much. That was on PSN as well. But nah, I never got around to it.
It wasn't too good. I mean, it was cool. It was nice, but it wasn't as good as the arcade version, and it wasn't as good as the SNES version either, or the Genesis version, which I think all three of them had different names.
So basically, it was rubbish.
Yeah, pretty much. No, it was rubbish in comparison, but I think if those other games didn't exist, people would be shitting themselves on how good it was. You know how it is, right? Like when you make, like people say, Twilight Princess was the worst Zelda. But then if Zelda never existed, Twilight Princess would have changed the complete gaming industry. So it's one of those situations where it was cursed by its own
legacy,
its own success. Yeah, exactly, legacy. That's what I was looking for. But in defense of Twilight Princess, I think they just did what the fans wanted. They tried to make it like Ocarina of Time, and then the fans realized, wait, we really don't want another Ocarina of Time.
I do.
I think if any Zelda needs to be remade, it's the Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past.
I'm okay with Wind Waker getting a remake.
Yeah. Well, when I say remake, I mean like
yeah, I know.
Complete remake.
Well, what about the new one coming out on 3DS? It's Link to the Past story.
Yeah, that's that's why I'm happy with it. So, I guess we're already getting that remake then, aren't we?
Not much a remake, but I guess yearly sequel or
spiritual success.
Spiritual success, yeah.
I'll take it. Honestly, I think Link to the Past is the greatest two-dimensional Zelda ever made. Personally, it's probably one of my top 5 as well. Another
no love for Adventure of Link?
I was just the Adventure of Link. Are you kidding? I thought you were saying Link's Awakening at first, and I was like, wait a minute. Don't trick me to the CDI bullshit.
Gotta go bang those hookers.
I think the only one I have is Wand of Gamelon. I never found Link's Adventure.
I don't know what that one is.
The Wand of Gamelon, that's one of the 3 CDI Zelda games.
The Faces of Evil being the best.
Stuff.
Huh?
The Faces of Evil is clearly the best one.
Right.
Did you
Zelda's Adventure.
Did you not buy your 3DS on launch day or in launch period?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I got mine on launch day. I have the I bought mine
the day. There you go then. Adventure of Link is on the Ambassador program.
Are you talking about Zelda 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. For some reason I was thinking you were saying Zelda's Adventure, which is one of the 3 CDI games.
Oh.
Yeah, but no, Link's Adventure is okay. It's not bad, but I don't think it's my favorite.
I don't think it's anybody's favorite.
I think Miyamoto was just too ambitious with it. I think they tried to put too much into the same game. Because there's side-scroll, top-view, RPG elements, villages. It's just that game is packed to the rim for an old NES game if you think about it.
It's like that old Ninja Turtle game. It had top view and go down the sewers.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't get very far in that one.
Nobody got past the water level. Like, I think everybody remembers the water level and being where you had to find the oxygen and swim through the electric seaweed.
No one likes those levels.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I got past them, but it was just never worth it because the game simply wasn't that good. It's not like Battletoads where, as a kid, I just kept pushing and pushing because the game itself was just so good, but it was so hard. What is the hardest game you guys have ever played? Not glitchiest, but actual hardest.
With that, there's sort of a division of hard between new and old games where older ones are just generally less forgiving than new ones. As if I had to say hardest modern game, I'd go with Monster Hunter on the sheer fact that the challenge never really goes away.
Right.
It's,
That's true. You never feel overpowered in Monster Hunter.
mhm.
Unless you're one of those people who run around soloing G rank missions naked.
They should make a movie of that. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and when I say hard, I mean based off of skill, where the only reason you fail at it is because you failed at it. So yeah, I think Monster Hunter is a good one.
Trying to think from my collection.
I think Master Quest was pretty hard. The puzzles were significantly harder than Ocarina of Time.
I didn't get past the Dog's Cavern.
That's the water temple of a Master Quest.
Is it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I know
but I think
that one spot near the start where I think it's just after you get the bombs.
Yeah.
There's like 3 blocks you gotta move around, and there's like 4 torches, and you gotta try and figure out the pattern. If you go too far off the end of the screen, then everything resets and just pissed me right off.
Right. And the secret of that was you had to jump down while the waterfall was pushing, and it was just ridiculous.
There's no waterfall in that room.
Not waterfall, but the geyser. There was a geyser.
Yeah,
you open up that center, and then there's a geyser that pushes up a platform.
No, I don't know. I didn't get past that room. I quit.
Oh. Phantom, I haven't played that game, but there was none of that. Another game that was really, I think the game that I think is truly the hardest game I ever played is Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. It's for the Super Nintendo.
The game was awesome.
It is really awesome. The music's fantastic. The graphics are amazing. But it is by far the hardest game I've ever played.
I remember the very first time I memorized that first falling down on the pad with all the spikes and not touching the wall once.
Oh, where you're on the rope? Like where they lower you down on the rope?
Well, there's stages where they lower you down. You gotta work your way through a very little notice, where like all the spike logs everywhere. There's that spot, and then there's the racing on the bikes or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The spikes, the wood ones, and they come from the sides, and they look like pencils, kind of.
A little bit, yeah. But
yeah, okay, I remember that.
I can't remember how far I actually got that game.
The cars on that one though weren't nearly as bad as the cars on the NES game, the original Battletoads. Those were so hard. But what made Battle Maniacs hard was like just everything took like a million hits to kill. Like even the most basic bad guy, you had to just pummel them to death.
And you had to kill them all. You couldn't just keep going.
Yeah. Well, that's the traditional Battletoad style, or I should say Double Dragon style gameplay. What's the glitchiest game you guys have ever played?
I don't know. I don't really run into many game break glitches, at least.
I think for me it's Mass Effect. I think there's so many, and I don't mean game breaking necessarily. I just mean like your textures wouldn't load. You walk through a wall, and it just happens constantly in the game. I think.
Unfortunately, I don't get that very often. I wish I did for just see what would happen, but unfortunately, my games usually work fine.
Sorry. No, I think my biggest was Mass Effect. I'm pretty bad, yeah. Especially the elevator where you'd be perpetually stuck in the elevator and the doors would never open.
Oh god, that sucked so much.
I think we could probably safely say Bethesda in general.
Oh, yes. Bethesda in general, and if you decide to play it on a PS3, most definitely.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think Sony PS3 fans have understood that to wait for those games and not buy them on launch anymore.
My game ran fine.
Did it? Skyrim?
Yeah, my save file was like 50 megs, and
50
it
megs.
didn't have much of a stutter issue. Near the end it did before
How
my
many hours did you
PlayStation
put
died,
in?
but I don't know, 150 something.
Well, I personally didn't have it for PlayStation, so I can't account for the issue myself. That particular issue. So that's all I'll say about that. I mean, I can't really say that the problems are justified. I can just say what I read about. But who was it? I think it was Drid. Maybe not. There was somebody on our chats that said they upgraded to a SLI. I'm sorry, to a solid state hard drive for their PS3, and that fixed all the issues.
That's a expensive fix.
Yeah. But they made a good point though. I mean, because I was arguing with them, I was like, well, the solid state drive shouldn't increase it from loading, because the reason why it locks up, from what I was reading, was that the RAM that was retaining the cache would just eventually get full. But I guess the way the PS3 is designed is that some of the newer games offload onto the hard drive to back up the RAM. And that's why it was having problems, is because the hard drive was loading RAM and backing up at the same time. And that after a while, the cache would get so bad that your game essentially just wouldn't work. So I'm wondering if maybe the people that had issues with the PS3 games just had a really full hard drive, and that's why they were getting slow.
You ever play Ultimate Spider-Man on the PS2? Or whatever else it was on? That
cel-shaded game?
Yeah, that game had the worst glitches for me. It would...
I don't remember the glitches about it.
Yeah, I tend to be the only one who ever runs into it. But it tended to be, you'd swing along, it'd all be fine, then you get to a point where the game decided it wouldn't load anymore, and then you'd fall and fall and fall and have to restart the game. And those sorts of glitches are horrible. What's it, back when the DC Universe Online had just started up, it was filled with those sort of glitches as well, where if you had the super speed run, you could run faster than the game could load.
That's awesome. That's why they Miyamoto wanted to remake Zelda Wind Waker. He said that he went back to the game to play it with his family, and the boat was just too slow. And then I guess they did some testing with it, and he remembered that when they just made that game, the reason why the boat was that slow is because the world couldn't load if the boat went any faster. So you would literally hit an invisible wall. And we all know about Nintendo's quality QA. They refuse to make a game where you find glitches so openly available like that.
That's why you fixed the game.
That's why. That's why they also didn't allow it any faster, is they didn't want you to find anything like that in a game. But so hopefully this new one has like a turbo button, I guess, now when you drive your boat.
Yeah, apparently you've got to unlock it later on.
Well, I heard it's before the Triforce thing though, the pieces, and that's the only time it was problematic, remember? Have you guys well, Phantom said he hasn't, but have you ever played Wind Waker?
Oh yeah, I've played through that, and that is such an amazing looking game.
It really is. I mean, honestly, they didn't have to redo the lighting like they did, but I'll take it. I mean, I think Nintendo has proved that they will not half-ass a remake. Because I mean, if you look at Ocarina of Time for the 3DS, that game just looks amazing. They didn't have to do all that. They could have just made it in 3D. Then they're porting Wind Waker. That game looks phenomenal. I know there's another one, but I can't think of it. Another game port that Star Fox. And these aren't games that they just up-resed or just put in 3D. They completely redid it. They redesigned the textures. They redrew the characters. They're new polygons, new models altogether. And I think that's the way remakes should be done. I'm getting kind of tired of seeing. No offense to the game, it's a great game, but Metal Gear Solid and Shadow of the Colossus's remakes were half-assed.
Definitely.
Really?
All they did was upscale them. They looked good, but I mean, look at Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts HD. We might not like those games, what they're doing, but at least they are redesigning the textures and redoing the models so that it's more than just let's up-res and publish.
I think they spent a lot more time on Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, though, compared to Team Ico or
That's
whoever
what I mean.
made the... I have it. It's still sealed. I haven't played it yet. I'm just more looking forward to seeing it I know they didn't increase the frames, but it's stable now. So like if you're playing Shadow of the Colossus, it won't drop
Oh,
down
Zone
to
of
15
Vendors?
frames.
Oh yeah. I have a Shadow of the Colossus myself too. I have it on Vita and I have it on PS3, the HD. It plays really good. It still has that weird feeling though. Like I don't know if you guys feel it. I think I'm the only person that does, but his animations and everything feels delayed, and it still has that. And that's my biggest issue with Shadow of the Colossus is it feels like
Oh, it's still there.
the input is extremely lagged.
Ah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I could just be crazy. Otherwise, the game is amazing. I mean, if Zelda would take some of those Ico elements, I would be all over it. Well, I guess I already am all over Zelda, but you know what I mean. I just think those are some things that Zelda could really take. Because Ico took so much from Zelda. I think Zelda could definitely take some from Ico and they can learn from each other. The director of Shadow of Colossus, the one that doesn't work at Sony anymore, Kenji Kaito. I think it'd be cool if Nintendo hired him. He'd be a good director for the next Zelda game.
Giant Colossus cannon.
Well, a lot of the Zelda characters are giants. I mean, the spider, I don't know. Did you guys play Skyward Swords?
Nope.
Nah.
Well, there was this giant. Well, in Twilight Princess, there's a giant Skulltos. But in Skyward Swords, there was a giant, like Indian knight thing. There was a giant dragon. A lot of them were really cool battles because you would have to use your weapons and stuff like that. I think it'd be cool if they would mix the theme of using your weapons of Zelda, but also using the environment like Shadow of the Colossus, or using the bad guy itself to climb and stuff like that. Like
The
imagine
climbing was
climbing
probably
a giant.
the best bit of Shadow of the Colossus.
Right. Well, imagine climbing like a giant Skulltos and then having to pull out your hammer and like just hammer his head. You know what I mean? That'd be really cool.
Well, we're gonna get to do that in Monster Hunter 4
Yeah.
if we
that's true.
whenever we see a Western release.
Well, Monster Hunter 3 did really good in America. Believe it or not. Let me compare to the other ones. So I think they're going to keep bringing those.
Even if they do,
Oh,
there's still going to be like a year gap. That is the tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. Take a year, give me some extra DLC or extra content.
No,
throw
we
it on the
don't get
Wii U,
anything extra.
I'm good to go.
Huh?
Well, I'll throw it on the
Or,
Wii U, I'll
or
be
give
happy.
us a Wii U version. Or take that year to make a Wii U version, right?
They tend not to. They tend to just sit there for a year, then decide they're going to localize it.
That's funny.
It sucks
That's
being
true,
a
though,
Monster
but it's
Hunter
funny.
fan at times.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember, was it you, Drid, who played Castlevania Lords of Shadow?
Nah, not me.
I did.
Oh, okay.
For the 3DS?
Oh, you did? No,
Yeah.
PlayStation 3.
Oh, yeah, I played on Xbox. Oh, it was the one that keeps talking about how much he loved it was Charanjit.
Yeah. I know it had a
he
climbing
liked it a lot,
aspect
but
to it.
it did, and it well, it had one boss. It had the ice boss, and you had to do it. And honestly, that one boss was done so extremely well. You guys got when the PC version comes out, you got to check it out. The landscapes in that game put Uncharted to shame. Like that game is just amazing looking. And
Well,
when I say put Uncharted to shame, I'm not saying that Uncharted is bad. I'm just saying that because Uncharted is known for having amazing landscapes.
Yeah, because I bought the game when a store in Canada called Zellers was going out of sale. They had a bunch of stuff on sale, and I asked early in Speak Out if it was any good. It was on sale for like $10, so I grabbed a copy. I haven't touched it yet, but I have it. I plan on playing it sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely play it, man. Because Patrick Stewart is the narrator. and the friend of I can't think of his name. It's Gabriel. You play as Gabriel Belmont, which is the great grandfather of Simon Belmont. Well, do you guys know the Castlevania lore?
Nope.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
General idea.
But Gabriel
All I know
Belmont
is Dracula.
Well, it's a lot more deep than that. I can't say it without ruining the story, but the family heritage is ridiculously awesome. And let's just say you got to play the game, because in part two, if you don't play the game before part two comes out, then you will have no reason to play part one ever again. Not because of quality, but because part two, I'm sure, will ruin the entire story of part one.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
Yeah, but like some games don't matter, like Assassin's Creed. Like, you would. I mean, I think Assassin's Creed 2 is the only game that I think you should play. You should go back to play 2.
I didn't get very far, actually. I got to the spot where the guy comes in and does the whole, like, Ezio, it's me, Mario, and then something happened, I stopped playing, and I never touched it again. I got, like, nowhere in the second game.
It was my personal favorite, but, I mean, everybody has their own little whatever they like about it or not. I mean, do you like the Assassin's Creed games in general, or not really?
It was good. I played the first one. I liked the fact that you could take on like 40 people and just kind of parry and instant kill them. However, 40 people would just sit there and stare at you. They don't want to kill you one at a time. It's kind of hack and slash, but not. I never did it the stealthy way. Like, I looked up a video and I got stuck one time, and I saw the guy like go around everywhere, took out every single guard there, every single guard on the escape route, did everything so stealthily. I just run in and just stab the guy, or I'll pick up the sword, beat him up a little bit until he's weak enough, and stab him and just run the hell away. Yeah. That's all I did in the first game. Second game I played a little bit of, and then there was 2 sequels in that storyline.
Part 2, yeah.
Yeah, I never, just because of that, it kind of turned me off of it a little bit. The third game only has 1 game in it, so it's a little bit more appealing to me, but I'm still missing Ezio's story.
The 3 to me was disappointing. Like, the American Revolution is so much deeper than what I'm sorry, the Indian involvement in the American Revolution was so much more than what they portrayed, and I think they really lost the opportunity of substance. So it really felt like they just threw an Indian in there to mix up the storyline, or a Native American, if you would. My wife's looking dirty at me, sorry. She's Native, that's why. But I just think that they kind of wasted what they could have done with that. You know what I mean? It's like bringing in the Knights of the Round and never talking about King Arthur. You can imagine that's pretty silly, right?
What's my problem with the Assassin's Creed? My problem with their games is that Desmond never really does anything.
His whole character meant nothing, except for the third one at the end.
It just seems so pointless that they had the real world stuff going on when everything else was more important. No, not important. Better.
Yeah. Well, it was the whole context, right? It was the game. I mean, and then when you play as Desmond, you're like, God, I just want to play the game. And then part 3, like, they made it such a huge, overwhelming plot. You're like, since when did he matter?
Did they have a lot more aspect on him than before?
Oh, did you not beat 3?
I never played it.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
I know the ending to it. I know the spoiler to it, but.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. In part 3, after you beat every kind of major plot, you're in this cave and you find more and more, trinkets, if you would, and then you meet this thing, and it tells you more and more story about why he matters, beyond just the fact that he's related to them, and it does make him actually matter, and I think they should have done that kind of a thing in the first game, because then they could have actually made a game about Desmond instead of just dropping him altogether like they decided to do. Because now, like, of all those games that we played, they already announced that Desmond's not going to be in the next game. So what was his point? Like, why was he even in the game?
He was there so we could go, oh look, it's Adam Sandler.
Oh, that's awesome. Current gen, not able to do hair. Yet Nintendo gets judged for putting hats on everybody.
Wait, what?
Oh, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. If you think about almost all the Nintendo characters have like hats or kind of things like that, or helmets.
Oh, I thought you were trying to reference Valve or something.
No. I play so little of Team Fortress that I think I have like 4 items, and one of them's like a cup of pee. So
You have an item for being honest in something and reporting or giving something back. I don't know.
oh, is that what it is?
I don't know. I was looking at your inventory the one day and saw you had one of the TF2 things. I guess something happened. I don't know what it is. Just, you have an item apparently for being honest and a good player.
That's totally unexpected. But I'm the devil. I like Nintendo. Downvote me. Downvote me now.
It's not something we say on here.
We can edit it out. Doesn't matter.
Nope, gonna keep it.
What about the recent? I think the biggest conversation, which ended well. It wasn't as negative as I thought it was going to turn out to be. Was the whole Nintendo only makes games for kiddies, and you grow out of Nintendo. Do you guys agree with that statement?
Nope.
Nah.
All right, next subject. I don't either.
They may not be
I think,
mature games, but we still play them.
I think maturity is in the context of the beholder or the person who is going towards it. They don't go out of their way to make The Last of Us, but they also don't go out of their way to make Barbie's Playhouse. So I think the fact that every game is approachable by everybody means that they're meeting the goals of their position, and I think that's all we really need to say about it. I mean, has there ever been a game from Nintendo that... I mean, I know we made fun of it the other day, but have you guys actually played Nintendogs?
Yeah.
Nope. Oh, wait.
I've got the Labrador version.
I didn't play Nintendogs, but I played the one before it. It wasn't made by Nintendo, but it was one of those you raise the dog and stuff like that.
Like Tamagotchi, or are you talking about actually on the DS?
Game Boy Color?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, but I have not played it.
It was Nintendogs for Nintendogs, I think. I
Okay.
remember I played it a lot, and we'd sit there after, like, your dog would age out and, like, retire, as they would say. Depending on how good your stats were, you could unlock other breeds, but me and my sister didn't know that, so we'd sit there, try and, like, spam through them. We'd retire our dogs early and trying to get the better breeds.
Well, the reason why I even really mentioned it was because Nintendo Dogs is a hell of a deep game. Like, it seems like it's so simple, but the whole spot pass idea, I think, came from Nintendogs. In Nintendogs, like, you had to walk your dog. You didn't have to, but if you walked your dog, you could pick up. He would find items, and it would be things like Nintendo hats, special toys, and stuff like that. And you could also play with them, like you could do, and it took really good advantage of the DS, or the dual screen. So you could do like frisbee competitions and show dogs, and all these the mini games were actually kind of fun. It was fun to like throw a frisbee and watch him catch it, because the more you do it, the better he gets at it. So there's a big grinding aspect to it, and the thing is, like, if you're willing to sit down and actually play that game and not look at it, oh, this should be my little sister's game, it was a pretty deep game. And that's all I really had to say about it. I just think, like, any Nintendo game can be as much as you put into it.
I remember. I just looked it up. The game was called Dogs.
Dogs. Are you sure that came out before
Game Boy Color.
Oh, wow.
99.
Dang. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's dogs, there's cats, but we're off that topic now. I just had to figure out what the game was called.
Right? No, I said all I had to really say. All my point was that maturity is really just depending on what you consider mature. If all you want to see is you know, some guy and girl walking through browns and grays for 12 hours. Nintendo might not make that. That doesn't mean that they don't make mature games, though. You know.
Well, you gotta look at it. How old's Draco? And I think he's the largest Pokemon fan we have.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Hongo, I think Hongo as well. Hongo's a really big Pokemon fan.
I do love me some Pokemon.
Well, Pokemon has like intense math. The calculus that you use in Pokemon to determine traits like happy and peaceful and stuff like that, and then the algebra you would use to get the random aspects of shiny and catching. I mean, when you're deep into Pokemon, you're a mathematician, man. You're really pumping out some heavy math there.
I gotta be
I didn't
honest,
bother with any of that.
I had a notepad like a year or so ago, and about the back quarter of it is just full of me taking just a bit of time and sitting there going, okay, if I do this, blah blah blah, and loads of numbers written down, and it's ridiculously in depth.
Yeah. If you train your Pokemon, like I love it when people insult Pokemon as being childish, and I'm like, if Call of Duty was a fraction as complicated as Pokemon, they wouldn't like Call of Duty. I guarantee it. There would be a significantly less user base of Call of Duty because the amount of work and thinking it would require. Well, is there nothing, Drid? Was there anything you thought that you were through any of the conversations on TakuCast or anything in general that you wanted to talk about? You had a little bit of your Chrono Cross stuff. Was there anything you wanted to throw out on that?
Not really. Because I've just been playing it again, it's been on my mind a bit. Looks damn good for a PS1 game.
Yeah, it does. That's when they started doing more 3D and less pre-render stuff. They still had it, but not as much. The world map is phenomenal looking in that game. So is the song. Like there's a million characters in that game.
45 playable characters, but you can't get all of them in one playthrough.
Right.
Nowhere near Suikoden.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing.
There's 108 characters you can get in that, but I'm not sure of which are actually playable.
In Suikoden?
Uh-huh.
All of them.
No, they're not. A lot of them just go and sit in inventory.
I don't know. All I know is, there's 108. If you get them all, then you can revive your friend. And that's it.
Well, none of them as much as Pokemon. What? Trying to top me? Just kidding.
Pokemon's got more legendary Pokemon than Chrono Cross has playable characters.
That's crazy. Seventh Saga kind of started the whole... Well, maybe Dragon Warrior. But I know Seventh Saga had a lot of characters like Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, Suikoden, any of those. Because like Seventh Saga had, I would say, a good 15 or 16 characters. And you could have, I think it was like 6 at a time on the screen. It's a pretty intense game. I would recommend if you're going back to oldies. No, Seventh Saga.
Oh.
It's an old Super Nintendo game. It might be on other consoles. I just played it on Super Nintendo. The only consoles I have complete sets of are Genesis, Nintendo, and Super Nintendo. And I don't remember it being on Genesis. So, all right, Phantom, go ahead and close it out, man. We gotta get this kid to bed. He's only 19. He's still growing.
It was not. You stay all night. All right, then. Well, this will be it for this episode of TakuCast Prime. Be sure to check out our other videos or subscribe, and that'll be it for now from Phantom, Koopa, and Drid. We'll see you next time.